The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession. Picture a bizarre, sterile dining room. The scene is just entirely surreal, almost suffocating. Masked women with dark hair are physically contorted. They're trapped inside custom-built chairs and tables made of cold steel and clear plexiglass.
Yeah, it's intense.
And then another woman, dressed head to toe in a red latex bodysuit, enters the room. She's pushing a cart. She's baking a cake.
It's quite the image.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
We really have an incredibly compelling agenda for you today. We're sorting through a massive stack of sources for this one. Articles, Reddit threads, architectural reviews, and a really revelatory profile from Vanity Fair.
Oh, that Vanity Fair piece is wild.
It really is. Our mission for this deep dive is to map the artistic and psychological evolution of Bianca Censori in early 2026. We are moving past the tabloid headlines, to understand the highly calculated structural evolution of a woman who just completely disoriented the global art world.
Okay, let's unpack this, because for the last couple of years, the public narrative around her has been, well, it's been relentless.
Right.
You probably already know the lore. She was widely viewed by the public and, frankly, the media as this silent Nepo wife. Kanye West even publicly stated he had dominion over her.
Which is a very loaded word.
Exactly. And we all remember the 2025 Grammys. She showed up wearing the completely transparent invisible slip. It broke the internet. But what really caught everyone's attention wasn't the outfit itself.
No, it was the aftermath.
Right. It was the lip-reading theories. They exploded across Reddit and FOMOI, the massive celebrity gossip subreddit.
That moment solidified a very specific narrative. The lip readers analyzed the red carpet footage, and they claimed that he was forcing her to take off her large fur coat.
Yeah, I remember seeing that video everywhere.
Right. In the video, she is seen shaking her head, seemingly resistant. And he allegedly tells her, "You're making a scene now."
Oh.
Whether those lip readings were perfectly accurate or not almost didn't matter. It became the lens through which the public viewed her as a captive in her own marriage, entirely under his control.
Which is what makes what happened next so shocking. We are fast-forwarding to December 2025 in Seoul, South Korea.
Okay.
She makes her debut in the global art world with an exhibit titled Bio-POP, The Origin. And this brings us back to that surreal scene I described at the start of our deep dive.
Right.
She turned humans into furniture.
And she did it with immense precision. The performance art piece featured her baking a cake, which her artist statement described not as nourishment, but as an offering to the system of domestic service.
Oh.
Yeah. She then served this cake to her own body doubles. These women were restrained inside sculptural furniture she designed herself, constructed from 3D printed resin and painted stainless steel.
That's so much.
Comfort and restriction collapsed into a single, highly stylized gesture.
I mean, I can barely sit comfortably in a standard wooden desk chair, so I cannot even imagine being strapped into 3D printed resin while someone bakes a cake next to me.
It's meant to be jarring.
It is so visceral. And alongside this, she launched a jewelry line called Nylons. It is incredibly clinical. I was looking through the lookbook in our sources, and her flagship piece is a sterling silver cuff that cost $2,250.
Yep.
But the kicker, it is directly inspired by the functional contours of a medical speculum.
Which is a brilliant, albeit disturbing, motif.
Yeah.
A speculum represents the ultimate invasive clinical gaze. By turning it into high-end jewelry, she is making a statement about how the female body is examined and commodified.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
But we shouldn't be surprised by this structural approach. She holds a master's degree in architecture from Melbourne University.
Right. I think people forget that.
They do. And architects don't just design buildings, they design how bodies move through space. They dictate flow, restriction, and access.
So she's taking the invisible constraints of being a wife in the public eye and making them literal.
Physical traps. Precisely that. Her artist statement argues that the home is the origin point of social control, the place where power and domination are normalized. She is essentially saying that domesticity is where we are trained to be subjugated.
But the critical reaction to this was intensely divided, wasn't it?
It was heavily polarized. On one hand, you had prestigious art publications like Design Scene arguing that the exhibit actually rehearses domination rather than critiquing it.
Oh, interesting.
Their perspective was that her body doubles were silenced and reduced to objects, meaning she was inheriting and perpetuating the very power dynamics of her marriage without actually resolving them or offering a way out.
But consider the fan reactions, because they saw something completely different. There was a huge wave of commentary online saying this brilliantly represented how women are forced to twist and turn and contort themselves to please everybody else. The fact that she took this deeply uncomfortable power dynamic, which everyone was already projecting onto her marriage, and made it tangible.
Yeah.
It commands your attention. I honestly felt a little unsettled reading about the human furniture, but you cannot look away.
It forces the audience to confront the very spectacle they've been consuming. She took the world's gaze and essentially built a mirror out of plexiglass and steel. You look at the furniture and you are forced to ask, am I the one demanding this woman contort herself for my entertainment?
And that is a heavy question to sit with.
It really is.
But wait till you hear what she revealed next, including a secret rehab stint and her claims of channeling messages from the dead.
That's where things really shift.
If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We got even crazier stories ahead in this deep dive.
To understand the massive rebrand we are seeing in 2026, we have to look at the severe medical and PR crises that unfolded behind closed doors in 2025.
Yeah, let's get into the timeline.
Our sources paint a very turbulent picture. Kanye experienced a grueling 4-month manic episode. This was eventually followed by a severe depressive crash, which was reportedly triggered by a change in his antipsychotic medications. It was a highly volatile period that required immediate medical intervention.
And from what I read in the stack, she actually stepped in to get him help, right? She secured treatment for him at a high-end rehab clinic in Switzerland to stabilize his bipolar regimen.
Yes, that's what the sources indicate.
But wasn't she struggling deeply herself at this point?
She was. The sheer weight of managing that crisis took a toll. Our sources note she checked into the Balance Rehab Clinic in Mallorca, Spain. This is an ultra-exclusive wellness retreat that charges around 150,000 euros a week. According to the reports, she admitted she was dealing with severe emotional dysregulation, which essentially means an inability to manage or recover from intense emotional responses, and had been self-medicating with benzodiazepines to cope with the stress.
Wow. It paints such a different picture of her life. While the world was mocking her outfits or theorizing about her being a hostage, she was actively managing a massive psychiatric crisis for her partner and hitting a breaking point herself.
And just looking objectively at the timeline reported in these sources, the PR situation gets even more complex in January 2026.
Right.
Now, I want to be very clear for everyone listening, we are strictly looking at this through the impartial lens of our source material. We're not taking sides or endorsing any viewpoints, just reporting the facts of what happened.
Totally.
Following his time in rehab, Kanye takes out a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal to formally apologize for his past anti-Semitic remarks. But almost immediately after, the sources show a massive wave of public outrage when he posts a picture on Instagram of a KKK-style outfit with the caption, "Outfit of the Day."
It is a total whiplash of public messaging. You have this formal, incredibly public apology in a major financial newspaper, followed by an inflammatory social media post that instantly reignites the controversy.
Exactly, and it's immediately after this chaotic period of stabilization and recurring controversy that Bianca finally breaks her years-long silence.
She does it with a massive visual rebrand. It's February 2026, and she steps out at the Felix Art Fair in LA.
This was a huge moment.
The mid-length black hair is gone. She debuts a dramatic bubblegum pink pixie cut, totally bleached eyebrows, a butter yellow bra, and a silver metallic miniskirt with sheer tights. It is such a sharp, futuristic pivot from the dark, heavy looks of the past.
It's a classic visual cue of a fresh start. A pixie cut, especially in that striking pink, often symbolizes reinvention and autonomy in pop culture. It's a shedding of the old self.
Yeah.
But what stands out to me is her newly established duality in styling. While she was wearing that avant-garde metallic outfit in LA, fans in Mexico City were completely disoriented to see her attending a concert wearing a simple long-sleeve t-shirt and jeans.
Right, because for years, she never had an off-duty look. She was always on display, always in these elaborate, restrictive outfits. Seeing her in jeans almost felt more shocking than seeing her in the sheer tights.
It shows she is now choosing when to perform the character, and when to just exist. She has reclaimed the boundary between her public art and her private self.
And that brings us to the Vanity Fair profile, February 2026, her first ever in-depth interview.
The timing is very intentional.
She finally addresses the narrative that she was being forced to wear those nearly naked outfits. She claims the looks were pure collaboration. She actually said, if you were married to Gianni Versace, wouldn't he give you a dress?
That is a brilliant piece of PR judo.
Right. But at the same time, she firmly declares that she is done stripping all the way down.
By using that Versace quote, she is reframing her husband not as a captor, but as a master designer, and herself as the willing, collaborative muse. Furthermore, she explicitly told the interviewer that demanding her to speak to the press earlier would have been a form of control in itself. She noted that mystery still has power.
Which makes so much sense. By staying silent, she let everybody else project their theories onto her, which just built the intrigue.
Exactly.
But the quotes from this interview are they are something else. She calls herself an elusive unicorn. She defends Kanye's parenting against claims that he hadn't seen his kids, saying he is an awesome dad who literally builds foam rooms for his children to jump around in.
And then we get to the spiritual revelations, which add an entirely new layer to her architectural and artistic pursuits.
Yes. She drops this massive revelation about her spiritual life. She reveals a deep interest in Vedic astrology and the occult. She claims that ever since she got out of rehab, she has been channeling messages from the dead.
To give some context for you listening, Vedic astrology differs from the Western sun sign astrology most people know. It's an ancient Indian system that is deeply focused on karma, life paths, and spiritual timelines, rather than just personality traits.
Okay.
It suggests she is searching for a very structured, deterministic way to understand the chaos of her life.
But the channeling the dead part. She was very careful not to elaborate too much, noting she was worried people might do weird things with that information, but she fully embraces all the woo-woo occulty stuff.
This raises an important question about how the public perceives her mental state versus her own understanding of her reality. She is stepping out of a clinic where she was treated for dysregulation, and she is now leaning heavily into esoteric spiritual practices.
Right.
The public is having to constantly recalibrate how they view her.
So how is the public reacting to all of this? Because people spent years thinking she was literally trapped.
Well, the Vanity Fair piece highlighted a psychological trait that changes the entire context of her behavior. She pair bonds incredibly deeply. During the interview, she referenced the Sweetie movie Together, a film where the characters' bodies literally fuse together over time. She used that bizarre body horror imagery to describe how intensely she connects with her partner.
Which ties right back into the human furniture. The fusing of bodies, the restriction, the merging with the environment. It's all connected.
Exactly. People are starting to realize she isn't a passive victim. She is an active participant with an intense psychological drive to merge with her environment and her partner. She is exploring the extremes of devotion and domesticity.
It's a completely different lens to view her through. Later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking 10-year twist nobody saw coming.
It's a big one.
But first, you really have to appreciate how she has flipped the script. She used the ultimate silence to build the ultimate curiosity.
And that curiosity is exactly the currency she is using to fund and fuel her art, which brings us to the true scale of what she is building.
The master plan. Because the human furniture from the BioPOP exhibit in Seoul, that was just phase one.
It was merely the prologue. According to the artist statements and press notes we reviewed, BioPOP is not a one-off exhibition. It is the beginning of a massive 7-part performance cycle that is scheduled to run all the way until 2032.
2032. That is a decade-long commitment to a single artistic concept. I don't even know what I'm having for dinner next week. And she has her artistic evolution mapped out for the next 6 years.
It's incredibly methodical.
What are the next chapters going to look like?
The schedule reveals 2 more chapters slated for 2026 alone. The next one is titled Confessional: The Witness.
Oh, that has to tie directly into her recent revelations about the occult and channeling the dead, right? A confessional implies speaking secrets, and a witness implies observing something hidden.
It certainly points to a deeper exploration of her newfound voice and her spiritual channeling. Following that, later in 2026, will be a chapter titled Bianca is My Doll Baby, the Idol.
Doll baby. That immediately brings to mind the accusations that she was just a life-size dress-up doll for her husband.
Yes.
She is taking the exact insults the internet hurled at her and turning them into museum installations.
It's the ultimate reappropriation, and the entire cycle is mapped out to eventually end in 2032 with a culminating piece subtitled Buggy Lee, The Ascension.
The sheer scale of this ambition is staggering. It completely changes how you look at her. She is just a tabloid fixture reacting to the paparazzi. She isn't just trying to go viral for a week.
No, not at all.
She is executing a highly calculated long-term performance art piece about objectification, idolization, and rebirth.
Yeah.
It's like she's playing 3D chess while the tabloids are just playing checkers.
The stamina required to maintain a performance art piece of this magnitude, while under the unforgiving glare of the global media, is extraordinary. If we connect all these dots, the final analysis becomes very clear.
Yeah.
Bianca Censori used the intense, overwhelming, and often highly critical spotlight of her marriage to build a massive, inescapable platform.
She endured the Nepo wife allegations, she endured the hostage theories, and the endless commentary on her body and her autonomy.
But step by step, she transitioned from a silent canvas into a highly vocal, structurally minded architectural designer. She has taken absolute control of her own narrative by leaning into the discomfort and mirroring it back to the audience.
It's truly a masterclass in hijacking your own public image. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because if she is planning things out to 2032, we are going to be talking about her for a very long time. I mean, we're witnessing the real-time creation of an art historical moment.
It leaves us with a lot to consider about the nature of performance and reality. If her art claims that domesticity and the home are where we are trained for public life, what does her highly orchestrated 10-year performance cycle say about the rest of us? Are we all just bending and contorting ourselves to fit into the structures society builds for us? How much of our own lives are spent acting as furniture in someone else's room?
You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.